Take a slow, gentle breath. In this space of stillness, stories become more than just words, they become mirrors. If you resonate with tales that awaken insight and stir the soul, you're in the right place. Subscribe to Journey Deeper. Now let the story unfold. Her name was Ilara, and she lived in a world painted in soft whites and cool grays. Her apartment, perched high above the city, was a temple of minimalist design, each object curated, each space intentional. It was a reflection of the life she believed she had built, a life of order, beauty, and quiet success as a brilliant graphic designer. At the center of this world was Julian, her partner of 5 years, a man with a smile that could disarm armies and an ambition that burned as brightly as the city lights below. He was, she told everyone, her rock, her compass, the one who saw her, truly saw her, and loved every part. And then there was Serena, her best friend, the keeper of her stories since their art school days. Serena was the earthy, warm counterpart to Ilara's cool composure. Their friendship was a sisterhood, a bond Ilara believed to be as unbreakable as her love for Julian. The three of them were a constellation, orbiting each other in a dance of dinners, weekend trips, and shared dreams. An enviable, beautiful life. But perfection is often a delicate pane of glass, and the first cracks are almost always invisible. It began subtly. Julian's late nights at the office, his phone now always screened down on the nightstand. An emotional static between them that he would smooth over with a beautiful piece of jewelry or a last-minute reservation at a restaurant she loved. When she voiced a whisper of concern, Serena would wave it away. "He's launching a new company, Ilara. Give him space." "You're overthinking it." Her advice, once a comfort, now felt strangely hollow. The shattering came on a Tuesday. Ilara, wanting to surprise Julian with an elaborate birthday dinner, came home early from her studio. The air in the apartment was different. It was still but charged. She found them not in the bedroom, not tangled in sheets, but in the kitchen. Julian was leaning against the counter, and Serena was stirring something on the stove, her back to the door. He laughed at something she said, a low, intimate sound. And in that moment of quiet, domestic ease, Ilara saw a truth more devastating than any torrid affair. This was not a moment of passion. It was a portrait of a life that was not hers. The confrontation was a silent film. Julian's smile vanished. Serena's hand froze above the pot. The words, when they finally came, were quiet and final. He was in love with Serena. It had been happening for over a year. Serena, her face a mask of tragic tears, simply said, "I'm sorry, Ilara. I never wanted to hurt you." But the guru's lesson is never simple. The deepest cut came a day later, as Ilara sat numbly scrolling through her emails. A press release. Julian's new company had just launched its flagship app, a revolutionary platform for artists. And as she stared at the screen, a cold dread washed over her. The logo, the user interface, the core concept itself, it was all hers. An idea she had sketched out in a notebook one night, full of excitement, and shared only with him. Her love, her friendship, her creativity, all gone, all taken. The apartment, once her sanctuary, became a mausoleum of memories. Every corner held a ghost. His sat on a pillow. The coffee mug Serena had given her. The silence was a physical weight, pressing down on her chest, making it hard to breathe. She was adrift in a sea of rage, humiliation, and a loneliness so profound it felt like a terminal illness. Her perfect world had not just cracked. It had imploded, leaving nothing but dust and echoes. Ilara's story, in its raw and aching detail, might feel uniquely hers, but the architecture of her heartbreak is universal. It's the story of betrayal, of loss, of a life plan being torn to shreds. And in the depths of that kind of pain, it feels like a punishment, a curse, a cosmic injustice. But what if it isn't? What if the moments of our most profound suffering are not punishments, but assignments? What if the people who break our hearts are not villains, but our most powerful, most ruthless, and most effective spiritual teachers? What if your ex, your betrayer, is a guru in disguise? From a Buddhist perspective, the root of all our suffering is not the event itself, but our attachment to things as they are. Ilara's agony did not just spring from losing Julian and Serena. It sprang from her fierce attachment to the idea of them, to the story she told herself about her life, her future, her identity. She was clinging to a picture, and when the picture was torn, she believed she was torn with it. We clutch at our relationships, our careers, our plans, like a child clutching a fistful of sand, believing we can hold it forever. The pain comes when we are forced to open our hand and see that it was always destined to slip through our fingers. This is the hard-won lesson of impermanence or anicca. Ilara's perfect world was never a solid fortress. It was a temporary, beautiful alignment of people and conditions. The betrayal didn't create this truth. It simply held up a giant, merciless mirror and forced her to see it. Julian and Serena were her mirror. They reflected back to her all her unexamined needs, her reliance on another for her happiness, her fear of being alone, her identity being wrapped up in being Julian's partner and Serena's best friend. A true guru doesn't always come with gentle words and a serene smile. Sometimes the guru comes with a hammer to shatter the illusions we have built around ourselves. The purpose is not to destroy us, but to awaken us, to force us to find a foundation within ourselves that cannot be taken, a home that cannot be broken into. So how do we begin to build this inner home? How do we transmute this agony into wisdom? Healing is not a race. It is a slow, sacred walk, and it begins with 3 paths. The first path is the way of the silent observer. Our immediate instinct in the face of immense pain is to either fight it or numb it. We rage, we distract, we drink, we scroll, anything to avoid the feeling. This path invites you to do the opposite, to sit with the pain, not to become it, but to watch it. When a wave of anger washes over you, simply notice it. Say internally, "Ah, here is anger. I feel its heat in my chest. I feel my fists clench." When grief arrives, notice it too. Here is sadness. I feel its weight on my shoulders. You are not the storm. You are the vast, silent sky in which the storm is happening. By creating this space of observation, the emotion loses its power to consume you. It becomes an experience passing through you, not the definition of you. The second path is the way of the sacred question. For weeks, Ilara's mind was stuck in a loop. Why me? How could they do this to me? These questions lead only to a dead end of victimhood. The second path invites a powerful shift. It asks you to change the question from "Why did this happen to me?" So what is this here to teach me? This is not about blaming yourself. It is about reclaiming your power. What is this experience revealing about your own needs? What is it showing you about your personal boundaries? What is it teaching you about your own incredible capacity for resilience? The story is no longer something that was done to you, but something that is being revealed for you. You cease to be a victim of your history and become a student of your life. And finally, the third and perhaps most liberating path is the way of compassionate release. The word forgiveness can feel impossible. This path isn't about condoning what they did or saying it was okay. This is a profoundly selfish act. It is about acknowledging that holding on to hatred and resentment is like drinking poison and expecting the other person to die. It only harms you. Sit quietly, close your eyes, and visualize an energetic cord, a thick, heavy rope, extending from your heart to the memory of them, to the pain of the past. See it clearly. Then, with a deep sense of love and compassion for yourself and your own peace, visualize a pair of golden scissors and cut the cord. Watch as your end of the cord returns to you, bathed in a healing light. Watch as their end floats away. You can wish them well, not because they deserve it, but because you deserve to be free from the heavy burden of carrying them. In this moment, the ex is no longer your tormentor. The friend is no longer your betrayer. They become catalysts. They become the unconscious gurus whose painful lesson has finally, blessedly set you free. Months later, Elara still lived in the same apartment. But it was different. It was filled with new art, her art. She was sketching in a notebook, not a business plan for someone else, but designs for her own life. The pain hadn't vanished completely, but it was no longer a raging fire. It was an ember, a warm reminder of the strength she had forged in the flames. She was quieter, but not in a broken way. She was quieter because she had found a stillness inside her that no one could give her, and no one could ever take away. She was her own home now. If this story stirred something quiet, yet deep inside you, pass it on. It may be the light someone else is waiting for. Subscribe for more stories where the sacred meets the everyday. And remember, sometimes it is in our breaking that the light finally enters.